John here from Great Lakes Country, and today I'm going to be making the most soft, moist, delicious, flavorful homemade banana bread. Everyone knows the deal. You bought yourself some bananas, you didn't come close to using all of them before they started turning especially brown, if not almost black. So you think, I'm gonna save these to make some banana bread. Maybe you throw them in the freezer, you build yourself up a collection in there, but then you never get around to actually making the banana bread, and 6 months later you throw all those frozen bananas in the trash. But I'm saying you should just make the banana bread. It's super easy, and if you use this recipe, you're gonna absolutely love it. All we're really doing is making up a quick batter, baking it for a little while, and that's it. Quick breads like these are way quicker and way easier than making a true yeast bread that has to be kneaded and let to rise a couple of different times. We're just mixing ingredients, throwing them into a bread pan. So in this video, that's exactly what we're gonna do, and I'll be sharing my quote secret recipe to really bring the flavor of your banana bread to a new level that everybody's gonna love. Now, I mentioned the bananas in the freezer thing. Once your bananas are starting to look really ripe, maybe not even quite as brown as that, but getting to the point where you no longer really want to eat it. You don't want the banana inside to be black and completely mush, but soft and super ripe is perfect for the banana bread. So once they get like this, or maybe even a day or two shy of this, well, either make your banana bread or put them in the freezer so you can make it later. And as long as I'm sharing my super secret ingredient for this amazing banana bread, well, I'm also gonna let you in on my super secret advanced method for successfully storing bananas in the freezer for later. That's it, throw them in the freezer. They've already got a protective wrapper on them, and you don't really need to do much more than that. And about a day before you wanna use them, just stick them on a plate, throw them in the fridge overnight. They'll thaw out. They may release a little bit of juice and liquid from the freezing and thawing process. That's why I say put them on a plate, but really there's not much to it. Freeze your bananas, thaw the bananas out, make the banana bread. So anyway, let's do it. And we'll start by getting most of our dry ingredients mixed together. 250 grams of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Get that all mixed together with a fork, and we can set this aside for a few minutes until we need it again. Now we need to take care of these bananas. And for this recipe, we need 1.5 cups of mashed up banana, which is somewhere between 3 and 4 bananas usually. So I'll just get them peeled and set into another big bowl and get to mashing them any which way you can. Use a potato masher, use the back of a fork, put them in a bag and beat them with a cast iron skillet if you got to. We're just trying to break them down so we can measure out that 1.5 cups that we need. Which was basically exactly all 4 of those bananas. Now we've got the KitchenAid mixer out, and yes, you could do all of these mixing steps with an electric hand beater. And the first thing we really need to mix is our brown sugar and 8 tablespoons of softened butter. So I'll get the paddle attachment on here, and we're just gonna beat away on about medium-high speed for 2-3 minutes until it's all looking very light and creamy. All right, the butter and brown sugar is looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna add in 2 eggs. And we'll continue beating for just another minute or 2 until all of that's nicely incorporated. Next, in goes all those mashed up bananas and the 2 quote secret ingredients that really makes this banana bread the best there is. First, 1/3 cup of full fat unflavored Greek yogurt. I know some people like to throw in some sour cream into their banana bread, and they seem to love it, but I just don't think that flavor is quite right. But a full fat Greek yogurt really provides the moisture and that touch of tanginess and creaminess that works just perfectly in a banana bread. And lastly, my secret weapon in the most amazing banana bread, and that's a little bit of banana extract. You're probably familiar with putting some vanilla extract in a banana bread, and that's perfectly tasty. But if you really want to kick it up a notch, give it just another dimension of delicious banana flavor, throw in a teaspoon of that stuff. And if you're not sure where you can get it, well, I'll put a link in the video description below to where you can buy some. Anyway, we're back to mixing, just another minute or so until everything's beautifully combined. All right, last up, all those dry ingredients. And I'm gonna get this paddle out of the way for a minute so I have plenty of room for this big old bowl. Just get all that in there. The flour, the baking soda, the salt, the cinnamon. Now paddle is back on, and we're just gonna mix this on low for just a minute or so until all of the ingredients really come together into a cohesive sort of batter. But at this point, we don't want to severely overmix everything. Just get it all combined and looking pretty smooth. All right, that's looking great to me, so we're just about ready to turn this into our banana bread. Now, at this point, a lot of people like to throw some crushed walnuts into the mix. But I just don't care for nuts in bread. I think the texture's all wrong. You got this nice, pillowy, soft piece of bread, and then these hard, abrasive, scrapey, crunchy things in them. I don't know, it's not for me. And B, well, I happen to be allergic to walnuts. They're one of the 2 foods that I'm allergic to. That being said, if you do like walnuts in your banana bread, now would be the time to throw some crushed up walnuts into that batter. All right, so we've got an ordinary bread loaf pan today. I'm gonna use my cast iron one because, well, I just feel like it. I'll give it a light spritz with some cooking spray. And then in goes the batter. Make sure to scrape that bowl, get as much of that goodness out of there as I can. Now, this just has to go into an oven that's been preheated to 350 degrees. We're gonna bake it for 30 minutes, then pull it out, tent it with some foil, and then put it in for about another 30 minutes. And it's at that point where you would do the toothpick test, where if you can poke it with a toothpick and it comes out clean, well, that means the inside is cooked and your banana bread is done. Anyway, into the oven it goes, and we'll come back in about 30 minutes. All right, 30 minutes in, and our banana bread is looking beautiful so far, but we need to loosely cover it in a little bit of aluminum foil because we don't want the top getting too overly brown or, God forbid, burnt. And over the next 30 minutes, the top will have a tendency to get really quite brown if we don't do this step. Nothing really wrong with that, but it's gonna look a little prettier if we do the foil. I don't want to obstruct that bread from being able to rise any further, so we really are just going to loosely set this over top. Now back in the oven it goes for about another 30 minutes. And another 30 minutes later, and here we are, looking absolutely gorgeous. And I gotta tell you, the smell in this kitchen right now is just wonderful. Doing the toothpick test, it's coming out entirely clean. It's exactly what I wanna see. The internal temperature, if we were looking for that sort of thing with this particular kind of bread, it's coming in at just about 195, which is right in line with what I would expect. So now I just have to let this sit here for just a little while until, well, basically it's cool enough to handle. I can't really touch the bread right now. I definitely can't touch this cast iron bread pan right now. So we'll just leave it alone, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. All right, well, this pan is still pretty darn warm, but I'm still going to transfer my banana bread out of it so I can get it on the wire rack. The longer you let it sit in that pan, the more the steam and moisture from the bread is going to kind of get trapped in there, and you risk starting to make the bottom a bit soggy. But anyway, I've got it transferred to my wire rack now, and I'm just going to let it continue sitting here for about another 30 minutes to cool quite a bit more before I dare try to slice into it, despite how badly I want to do that right now. The smell coming off of this is like in the old Looney Tunes cartoons where the wisps of steam are, beckoning you over to come have a bite. Nevertheless, I shall wait. All right, the wait is finally over, and we can finally slice on into this guy and take ourselves a bite. Perfectly cooked, beautifully soft and squishy and moist. Great golden brown crust. There's nothing not to like about that. And of course, this banana bread would be delicious all on its own, but I sure do love to spread a little bit of softened butter on there. Super soft, there's nothing dry or dense about this. The smell is so good. Let's get into this. That's exactly what I'm looking for out of a quick bread like this. So often with muffins and banana breads and zucchini breads and all that category of things, you end up with a dense, crummy, crumbly, just unpleasant thing to eat. And honestly, that's probably why I didn't really care for that style of bread or make it very often for a long time. That is until I figured out how to make them super moist but still have all the structure they need to rise properly and hold together when you want to slice and eat it. Anyway, that's my super easy and super tasty recipe for turning this old banana into this delicious slice of banana bread. And if you take nothing else from this video, try that banana extract. Use a little, use a lot. I use about a teaspoon, and I think that that's the perfect amount, but I guess I wouldn't be mad if there was even more of that flavor in there. But dial it into how you like it. Anyway, if you want to see the full written out recipe for this exact banana bread recipe, I'll put a link to it in the video description below. In the meantime, be sure to like and subscribe and stay up to date with all our latest stuff, including future cooking and bread making videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm John, and this is Great Lakes Country.